All right, let's get it started. Let me turn this music down before it blasts again. Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday on the Morning Night Live. Still a lot of talk about Nashville. Lots of weird things people are saying. So we're going to cover a bunch of that because there's more news coming out about the young human being that did this terrible thing. But there's also other things just to yell FTG about. So we're going to do that like we do every Thursday. Hope you're ready. Let's keep it simple. Oh, and it's disco day if you can't tell. So we're going to, well, it's not always disco day on Thursday, but that was the genre I decided to pick out for today. So all the supers, all the Rumble rants, all the Streamlabs donations, you sponsors, you're going to force me to play some disco today. So hopefully, for me, that's a good thing. So hopefully we hear a lot of disco today. But for now, it'd be just a good thing just to play the intro. Johnny, play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Yes, let's shout. Let's get it started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel, where sometimes you just got to go, what? And that's what I'm going to be doing a little bit today. Anyway, it is Thursday, the 30th of March, 2023. Apparently, we're supposed to be getting some kind of we have a winter storm warning here in my lovely neck of the United States, aka the Twin Cities in Minnesota. Now, a lot of you think, oh, Minnesota's so cold and this and that and blah, blah, blah. It's, we've had some fairly mild winters over the last few years. This winter, though, we've gotten, I think, a record amount of snow. So that is more proof of global warming. And we are going to, if it snows again today, hey, I don't care. A lot of it's melted already. But it's cold today. So there's the weather report. That's all you're getting. But we also have to talk about the cold-heartedness. I was trying to do one of those Daily Wire transitions where you say something and then you transition into one of their read-along ads, whatever. But I don't have any ads, so I guess that's not going to happen. So since I don't have ads, let's just say hi. By the way, reminder, you are the sponsor of the show. Since I'm saying this early because I really want you to share the stream. Share the stream out early during the show. Hit the like button, do all that stuff. If you want to sponsor the show, pdognight.live, not just during the show, but 24 hours a day. You can do that, use the PayPal options or the credit card option. Actually was better because they take less of your money from me and they give it to me. But it's whatever, if you do want to do super chats because you like the complete and total anonymity, although I would never divulge people who not intentionally divulge people who donate other ways. But and then there's also Venmo and Cash App. Those are options too, whatever. I appreciate everyone who sponsored the show. Now let's say hi to some of you. Now there's a little problem on Rumble. I don't know what's going on. It says waiting to upload video to storage, but this is a live stream. And it even says that it's live, but I can't figure out what's going on there. So, but anyway, thanks Avocados Diabli for being there first. You get the bell. And, oh, that was weird. Okay. And then also thank you, Next Gen Trolls over there. So you're going to have to, I put a link to the YouTube, and if you're over there, I apologize for whatever's going on there today. Clearly a glitch. Locals is down too. Is it? Now, I just got into Locals. Locals is having trouble because their notifications are going out really slow. So I noticed that with a couple of people I follow over there and use them for notifications. Their notifications are like Like not, and I don't mean just slow. I mean like 6 hours later, they send, or 4 hours later, they send out a notification. So I'm not really sure what's going on. So maybe they're integrating something at Rumble and Locals or something, but it's not working there. But thanks for those of you who jumped into that stream, and I certainly recommend. I'll probably put the link that they upload from YouTube, and I'll revise links that are linking to the replay if you want to watch the replay on Locals. Over on YouTube, first in the chat today is Mr. James Colley. Well done, sir. DF, hi. And he says, I beat the devil. Woohoo. And I said, well, bless you, son. Also, good morning, Tripper Liberty, Avocados Diablo, Tex AG, 007. Lord Stanhope's in the house. Dr. Funkenstein's Ghost, a.k.a. Tyre. Good morning, Jeff Overture, Drone and Wolf, and Maddie. I do one for both of them, even though they live in the same house. Also, good morning to fake news expert, Lord Stanhope, Special K on Acid, Anna Lynn, Plague Doctor. Oh, I already said Plague. No, I didn't say Plague Doctor Zach. Zach Osborne's in the house. Nice to see you. Good morning, Tyler F, Rotten Corpse, JB, welcome back. Also, who else? Right, I got it all. Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadians in the house. The infamous Those Ain't Real Dude is here. Good morning. And I think I've got just about everybody here so far. So anyway, I'm really glad you're. Oh, Jay Blizza, 427. I'm gonna probably just cut and paste this, and because the people on Rumble who coming in on Rumble is something's messed up. Cat skin awfully. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Anyway, I don't know. Is Rumble working yet? I keep refreshing. No, it still says uploading video to storage. That's weird. All right. Well, anyway, let's just get into it, because there was this tweet that I saw just before I changed the I changed my thumbnail just before I was about to set this up because of this crazy tweet. By the way, thank you, Trippy Liberty, Zach Osborne, Somnambule Nation, Tyler F, Maddie, and I think that's everybody who's already tweeted out the show. I really, really appreciate it. So the tweet that got me right off the bat. Now, oh shoot, I don't want to show people dying here. So every once in a while, there is just pure cancer on Twitter, and this is the pure cancer of the day. Brought to us by Myth Informed Mike, or MKE Milwaukee. This tweet right here. So now the readers added some context to it, but here's the tweet of the day. The dumb. I'll say dumb for now. I got to keep the swearing to a minimum right now. The dumb tweet of the day comes from something called Terror Alarm, who says, without justifiable reason to use force and without her resisting the arrest, transphobic police officer shot deceased the transgender suspect of killing multiple children and teachers at a Christian school in Nashville, and then hashtag Audrey Hale. Now, Decca, what's up? Now, appropriately, people have trashed this particular tweet with facts. Okay, turn that off. I don't want to see it. Whoop, there we go. So, and I shouldn't even have had to say this, but thankfully the readers have already done it. The shooter's identity was not yet known at the time police officers shot her. They could not have known that she was a transgender person, nor is there any evidence to suggest that any of the officers on the scene are transphobic, and it doesn't matter. I don't care if these were the most transphobic police officers on the planet. They did not know the person shooting children and people in a school was trans. They don't care. The person was trying to kill them. And in fact, the assailant shot at the officers. It turned into a shootout, and they shot her dead. And I'm sorry if you think I'm misgendering her. Every article still says her, including the person who wrote this terror alarm tweet, which is stupid. FTG to terror, whatever, terror, TERRORALARM. FTG terror alarm, you're a freaking moron. Now, let's see. I want to show you the replies because I haven't looked at them yet, but I'm sure they're going to be great. So this one, Cool Bugs Facts. Yes, this is very appropriate. I won't say it, but I will certainly allow you to read it. Please report them. This is misleading and defamation of character of the police officer that saved lives. This could potentially lead to violence to heroes. Community Notes did a great job of labeling this, but labeling alone is not enough. This needs to be deleted. I think this person should delete their entire account for that stupidity. That umbrella guy, Aubrey Hill, killed 6 innocents, 3 of them children, and was actively firing on police when they entered the building and can be heard firing as they closed in. Still, you clowns defend the active shooter because identity-laden BS. Yes, like I said yesterday, they're mad because you mentioned identity, but then they're mad because you don't respect this person's identity. I thought identity was the most important thing on the planet, and they're just still, and now it's so important that the police officers should not have shot someone shooting at them because of identity. Good morning, Infamous Mutt, by the way. It's good Lord. Good Lord, these people are nuts. They're nuts. Well, okay. Is that there's got to be some kind of phobic for me calling them nuts, but they're nuts. And I don't mean like they're crazy. I mean they're nuts as in they're wacko stupid people or something. I don't really care if I offend them at all. I don't care if I offend them. Now, oh boy, just amazing though. Just amazing the things that people come up with to justify. Now, speaking of those officers, I know I talked a little bit about them yesterday, but let's give them some credit right now. These are the guys that did their job, unlike the Uvalde police cowards. These guys who took down Nashville shooter are hailed as heroes. Absolutely. Abso-frickin-lutely. They are heroes. Rex Engelbert and Michael Collazo are the Nashville police officers credited with taking down the shooter Audrey Hale on Monday. Body cam footage of the shooting has been released, and these officers are being praised for running toward the danger and ending it quickly. While a team of Nashville police officers swarmed a Christian school Monday morning to stop an active shooter, the department praised 2 of the responding officers, credited with taking down the suspect by name. Hero Metro Nashville police officers Michael Collazo, 31, and Rex Engelbert, 27, have served in the department for 9 and 4 years. Wow. So Collazo has been a police officer since he was 22 years old. Engelbert since he was 23 years old. The department declined to make either of them available for an interview on Tuesday. Collazo, a Marine Corps veteran. Wait, he was a Marine Corps veteran at 22, so he went straight into Marines and then came home and was a former firefighter. Also responded to the Christmas Day bombing in 2020. His sister said Tuesday he is also the father of a young girl himself. Engelbert, one of the first officers on the scene, is shown on body cam video calmly retrieving his rifle from the back of his police SUV as a teacher outside explains the situation. He's obviously very brave, braver than I imagined, Deanna Collazo DeHart told his older sister, told Fox News Digital. He really does love his job. When I sit and think about all the training and all the different classes that he does and all the family events that he's had to miss because of training or leaving to go through this training or this class, and it all really does pay off. Speaking separately at a news conference Tuesday, Nashville Police Chief John Drake said Collazo had also served as a SWAT team paramedic. He was born and raised in Nashville, joined the Marine Corps right out of high school, and told his parents hours after the shooting that he drew heavily from his military training during the ordeal, according to DeHart. So these guys absolutely deserve every bit of praise that they're getting. Good morning, Chicago Mike. Good morning, TC, by the way. Lord, I already said Lord Stanhope. And Jeff Overturf. Hello, guys. So yeah, more of this. Let's do more praising these two gentlemen who basically walked towards bullets, walked towards someone shooting them, and took out a dangerous criminal. Good morning, Data Wasteland too. So, and then someone's finally mentioned these are the victims of yesterday's. Now, a lot of people are calling this an anti-Christian terror attack. And may well be. We still don't know, but it's certainly. I don't know what this person was thinking. Apparently, the manifesto coming out, and then they did release the body cam footage. You can find that in many places. So if you want to see that, you can. But hail to these two guys, deserving the recognition and praise that they're getting. And I hope they, I hope they're good officers too. I don't, what they like to do is they like to find ways to tear down people. And especially in this case, if you go by this stupid tweet claiming that they're transphobic, no, they are asshole phobic, and they killed the asshole shooting kids and people in a school. Moving on, more about this. Apparently the Nashville shooters manifesto is going to be released after the FBI review. Nashville shooter ding dong blah blah shitbag pre-killing spree manifesto is set to be released to the public after the FBI and its highly skilled team of criminal profilers analyze its contents, a Nashville council member revealed to the Post. FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit is working in tandem with the Metro Nashville Police Department to complete a very in-depth analysis of certain aspects of the shooter's life. Good morning, Jim Beam. So whatever, I don't care about the shooter's life. I mean, I guess maybe they can help them profile future people who do this kind of stupid shit. The manifesto is going to be released. It's just a matter of time. Okay, so anyway, I'm finding a little sympathy for this person. Also in the New York Post, apparently the shooter was heartbroken over the death of a friend that she may have been infatuated with. They have a Fox News clip interviewing the police chief. Nashville shooter, that person was heartbroken over the 2022 death of a girl she was infatuated with and who had played on the same basketball team in school. Wait a minute, I thought she was a boy. Samira Hardcastle told the Post that tomboyish Hale, had been deeply affected by the death of Sydney Sims, who was killed in a vehicle accident in August 22, according to an obituary. Hardcastle, a classmate of both girls in middle school, said, after Sydney's tragic death, Audrey was really heartbroken over it. I just feel like she took it differently than some of us did. She was still posting about Sydney almost daily. What I knew of her, okay, I don't know why this is important. Are they going to try to help this be an excuse? It's interesting because this is in the New York Post. I guess it's just background, something that may have caused this person to break or whatever. Hale said, who police said was transgender, had started to identify using he, him pronouns, posted a TikTok in February on a since deleted account, I am Aiden. So this person decided they were trans in February of this year. Interesting. Hardcastle said she'd last seen Audrey on Monday and killed, blah, 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 a month ago when they both attended a taping of their friend Avirana Patton's radio show. Okay, interesting that they're going through all this background. Is this the person that she was infatuated with? Patton was the last person Hale contacted in the minutes before her shooting spree and sending her a message saying, "This is my last goodbye. I love you." So this is a suicide by cop too, apparently. See you again in another life. Oh boy. Horncastle said Hale was a tomboy back in school, but did not appear to transition until adulthood. She also didn't know of Hale having any romantic relationships with Sims. All right, I'm not sure the point of this story, but it's unfortunate that her friend died. It doesn't help understand why this was a decision this person made. Hello, Special Canned Acid. Let's move on. Oh, wait, I got to move this article back because it's not part of the theme so far. So then we're getting reaction from various media. Tucker Carlson says Nashville transgender school shooter murdered victims because they were Christian. Now, we don't know this for sure, but here, does they have a clip of him saying it? No, they don't. Transgenderism hate Christians above all. That's more like, that sounds like Ben Shapiro. The divide between America is between people who think they are God and those who know they are not God. That's what Tucker Carlson said when discussing the recent shooting at Covenant School on Monday. On Monday, we know what she did. They go through what she did. Carlson referred to U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland's comments on Tuesday. Well, what did he say? Oh, God, what did he say? Garland says, so here's the case where Merrick Garland decided it was too early to call it a hate crime. But don't they automatically claim that anytime someone who is in any of the things that you can be phobic of, anytime there's an incident against someone like that, or even anybody who's not, I guess, white, they'll always label a hate crime before they even know what happened. Republican lawmakers pressed Attorney General Merrick Garland on Tuesday whether the Justice Department will open a hate crime investigation one day after a mass shooter killed 6 people at a Christian private school. He said, well, here he is. Fucking Merrick Garland. What happened there? Well, I see. It went to a website. This is, okay, here we go. This is them questioning Merrick Garland.
Madam Chair, thank you, General, for being here. General, I want to ask you about the shooting at Covenant School.
Because they would label this a hate crime if it was any place else that had some kind of label, right?
I realize that the shooter is dead, but the shooter could have had collaborators. Do you plan on opening a hate crime investigation?
It's a good question.
For the targeting of
Christians? It's a good question.
The FBI and ATF are both on the scene, working with the local police. As of now, motive hasn't been identified, and the police chief said at his last press conference that they don't yet have reached a conclusion with respect to motive. We are certainly working full-time with them to try to determine what the motive is, and of course, motive is what determines whether it's a hate crime.
Oh, well, yeah, but it's fascinating how they can suddenly they aren't going to even consider that automatically of why it would be a hate crime. That's interesting. So Garland noted that the FBI and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosive has been on the scene working with local law enforcement, and that as of now, motive has not been identified. Okay, interesting. Metro Nashville Police Chief John Drake said during a Monday interview that he believed Hale held a sense of resentment toward the school. There's some belief that there was some resentment for having to go to that school. You know what? I want to know. I suppose the manifesto that they supposedly are going to release to the public will tell you. But anyway, Carlson referred to that on Tuesday. Garland said the FBI, Nashville Police, blah, 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 are investigating the shooting, and yet he wouldn't hazard a guess on motive. Motive hasn't been identified, Garland told us. Carlson said, really? You wonder how that could possibly be. He explained that the shooter herself said she left evidence behind to elucidate her horrific actions. Just before she opened fire, the Nashville shooter wrote these words to her best friend over Instagram. "One day this will make more sense. I've left behind more than enough evidence. That evidence includes a written manifesto where the killer spells out exactly why she killed children. The FBI, the ATF, Nashville Police, and for that matter, Merrick Garland all have access to that manifesto, and yet somehow the Attorney General informs us that a motive has not yet been identified." Fascinating. FTG Merrick Garland, by the way, drop that in there. Data wasteland, yeah, sure, I don't care. You can do that. That's fine. Carlson did mince word, accusing the AG of deliberate dishonesty. Well, he's lying. They're all lying. Carlson said, "We can't see the manifesto because the transgender lobby, which has far more power than you do, has pressured politicians to keep it hidden. So now they are going to release the manifesto." Just FYI, Carlson asserted, however, that "we can be certain what the manifesto says. It will reveal that transgender Audrey Hale shot children because they were Christian," he insisted. Now, we don't know that, but I'm pretty sure. The manifesto they are furiously redacting and editing. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, mainstream media outlets have been bombarding people with stories criticizing the right for blaming Hale's murderous rage on radical transgenderism, yet those same people are pretending that gun control will solve mass shootings, even though guns are only tools and more than 90% of mass shootings occur in gun-free zones. Leftists are refusing to deal with the fact that not only does leftist ideology constantly encourage hatred, it absolutely does, and even violence, remember the 2020 BLM and Antifa riots, but transgender activists planned a Trans Day of Vengeance for this week. We'll get to that. If you want to read more about what Carlson said, great. Now, and then a few of the outlets have noticed that Joe was joking about about the question he got when if he was asked if Christians were targeted, and when they told him that Josh Hawley said that he believes that, Joe Biden jokes about the idea that, well, if he believes it, then I don't. I'm a super partisan. That's hilarious at this time of when people are lying dead in a school. By the way, good morning, Jimmy Das Hotep. Nice to see you. And Reaccion Puerto Rico, you lovely island. Wait, here for the Hoteps. So we'll skip that because I showed you that yesterday. Anyway, and also Senator Josh Hawley says the Nashville school shooting was a hate crime targeting Christians. I don't think the police and the media is going to run with that. In response to a horrific shooting at the Covenant School in Nashville, Tennessee, which killed 3 children and blah, blah, blah. Josh Hawley introduced a resolution on Tuesday calling the Senate to recognize the tragedy as a hate crime targeting Christians. Interesting. Let's see how long this clip is. That's 5 minutes long. I'm not going to do it. I don't know. Let's do a poll. Do you think the I'll call it an event just because it's YouTube. Do you think the Nashville event was a hate crime? And then I'm going to give you my opinion in a moment. But here's the poll. Do you think the Nashville event was a hate crime? It might. Well, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not telling you until I get a few answers up here. So now there's a column here by Raymond Ibrahim, who is a Muslim man. Says, like Muslims, trans terrorists are lashing out due to grievances. Once again, despite their extreme differences, LGBT people and Muslims find themselves in the same boat, this time in how the establishment responds to their transgressions. It's only been a couple of days since the horrific event in Nashville by a quote, trans person, end quote. And already the establishment is doing what it always does when a Muslim commits an act of terrorism, show you how they, the murderers, are the real victims. We saw a lot of that yesterday, didn't we? Good morning. Why are you so angry? Nice to see you. Happy Ramadan. Yes, thank you. Anyone paying attention since 9/11 knows that this has long been the pattern whenever Muslims engage in acts of terrorism. Those that are big enough, that is, or somehow warrant Western attention. The overwhelming majority of Islamic terrorism around the world, like the genocide of Christians in Nigeria, simply get ignored. Kind of like crime in black neighborhoods, right? And I'm not saying that's because they're black. I'm just saying that inner city crime, when it is committed by a black person, it becomes a number. We saw that little study yesterday. Anyway, after stating the bare bone facts of the act of terrorism, the media and other talking heads invoke Muslim grievances because of burned copies of the Quran, because of Israel's existence, because of the Crusades and colonialism, because of racism, xenophobia, Islamophobia, etc., etc. This goes on and on with the aim of getting the unsuspected viewer to conclude, well, I guess I can't blame for Muslims for lashing out like that. Now the establishment is responding in the exact same way concerning the Nashville massacre. Once the identity of the murder was confirmed as trans, all of the usual talking heads came out to report the bare-bone facts, yes, but even more so to highlight trans grievances, which apparently prompted this act of frustration, quote-unquote. Paul Joseph Watson put together a brief video with numerous excerpts highlighting this parallel treatment. It includes media statement arguing that the trans murderer's life was made difficult by anti-trans legislation and concludes that with hate has consequences. Similarly, after reporting on the Nashville murders and the trans identity of the murderer, ABC News' Terry Moran in the same breath stressed that earlier this month, Tennessee passed a bill banning transgender care for minors, again implying a cause and effect relationship. According to this logic, because Tennessee banned what is in effect the sexual mutilation of children, a trans person only naturally sought vengeance. Wait a minute, I want to see this video. I'm not a fan of Paul Joseph Watson, but I have to see this video. Let's see this. Let's watch this. What the hell is that?
Unspeakable horror in Nashville, Tennessee, after a transgender-identified shooter killed 3 children and 3 adults at a private Christian school. And while the nightmarish reality of what happened is difficult to process, the reaction by many to the outrage was bizarre beyond belief.
I'll say.
Amongst them, the President of the United States, who preceded his words about the tragedy by going on a weird rambling tangent about chocolate chip ice cream.
His first thing, I came down to get some ice cream.
Joe Biden.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband. And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip.
Wait, what did he say though? What were the words he said? Ice cream. Ice cream. Yes, Paul Joseph Watson is very hyperbolic. I really don't like his style. But I'm curious about this video because I want to see some examples that I may have not seen yesterday. But what did he say? My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Jill Biden's husband. And then he said,
and I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate.
And ice cream.
Joe Biden's husband. And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip.
Ice cream, chocolate chip. Chinese ice. That does sound like Chinese ice cream. What did he say?
And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip.
Ice cream.
I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream.
Oh, yeah. This is great. This is a great opening, Joe. Great opening when you're about to talk about a tragedy. Let's talk about how I came down for some chocolate chip ice cream. Because, Mommy usually calls me down when when the bowl of ice cream is ready because I can't even do it myself. Hello, Jesse Lehan. What's up? And GD, what's up?
The real outrage, though, according to some, is that the psychotic, depraved child killer's pronouns had been disrespected.
5 times CNN misgendered, no correction. A mass shooting is horrible.
You know what's wild? Is there still... I mean, I'm going by their playbook. I don't care. She killed a bunch of people. I don't give a shit about her pronouns. But everyone's still misgendering her according to their rules. Of course, maybe it's because she's only been transgender for 2 months or a month and a half. It's literally, they just said in February was when the first time she used change her pronouns. Anyway,
Misgendering does not make anything better.
I mean, I know Karens are notorious for complaining about trivial things, but complaining about a mass shooter's feelings being hurt, truly beyond the pale. She wasn't finished.
Exactly.
Update. It seems like maybe there's plenty of confusion about whether or not the shooter is a transgender man or woman, and finding out that the police there don't know how to use the right words does not shock me. But mixing genders in the same story is still a problem.
Yeah, well. God. Okay, all right, let's hear what he says.
Yeah, so grieving parents have just lost their infant children. But your overriding concern is that police remain politically correct in respecting the memory of the killer. Then he responded with this Norm Macdonald bit about ISIS detonating a nuclear device that kills 50 million Americans, and then people on Twitter worrying about Islamophobia, and just like clockwork.
Who police say identifies as transgender. That news has already prompted some attacks against the trans community.
Oh, has it? Really? Because I know they're about to have the Trans Day of Vengeance that this person was going to participate in. Really?
I am concerned.
Wow, that's a weird thing that they're worried that immediately instead of
has already prompted some attacks against the trans community.
Has it? What kind of attacks? Be specific. Because that would be newsworthy if there was actual attacks. I'm not sure what you mean. You mean words? Bad word? People? Hello, Black Hebrew Israelite. What's up? And speaking of which, thank you for sponsoring the show, Black Hebrew Israelite. You are Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, sir. Dropping a deuce in the tip jar says, the poll is a hate crime because the shooter no longer had a poll. That's right. Well, the shooter never had a poll. Just saying. I'm just saying. Too soon. I don't give a shit. Burn in hell, commie. That's right.
That's right.
I was so happy to see the police double tap the asshole, not giving him a chance to surrender. That's right.
That's right.
Okay. So this was a female to male trans, but anyway, he was a pedo. Okay, thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite. Appreciate dropping a deuce in the tip jar. I will clean that up later. It's just strange. Let me finish here with Paul Joseph Watson here.
I am concerned about how opposition and people who are
I'm concerned about your blood pressure.
Anti-trans will try to spin this.
Oh, that was so rude of me. I should be so rude.
Concern about tweets like this from GOP Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That's it. But is that not a legitimate question? The mental state of people when they take these medications, hormones for mental illness? I mean, it's certainly not causing these incidents to happen over and over, but there's a lot of people who are going to have some mental health problems. As many people as they're convincing that the way you fix weird feelings about yourself and your body is to become a permanent medical patient and start cutting things off. I don't understand it. And certainly there's countries who've been doing this a lot longer that are figuring out, maybe we should stop doing this, especially with children. But no, you make laws that someone under 18 can't make a permanent life medical decision to become a permanent medical patient. And, oh boy, you can't have that. Oh boy.
Green.
But not to be outdone, this galaxy brain chimed in.
Another day, another mass shooting. The shooter has been identified by his dead name. It appears he used he, him pronouns and was a former student of the school. Of course, MSM and the LEOs discussing the issue and misgendering the murderer. I'm sad and angry.
Misgendering the murderer. Oh my. Oh. I mean, seeing some pics of her there and now, she had to be on something. Well, no. I mean, she is a okay, let me clear it up. She's a female. And then started to use he, him pronouns. In fact, this person is saying that they're misgendering the murderer. I'm sad and angry on so many levels. Sad and angry on... Okay, wait a minute. sad and angry because the murderer, the shooter's been identified by his dead name and they're misgendering the murderer. I'm sad and angry on so many levels. Fascinating.
On so many levels.
You're sad and angry on so many levels. And one of those levels is being mad at the crazed murderer being dead named. No mention of the dead kids. Someone violated your demented language police rules, and that's why you're sad and angry. And it wasn't...
Okay, tell you what, I'm going to go ahead. What is this? Oh, he's got some of the same stuff I did yesterday. Oh, is this a meme? I identify as trans. If you don't accept that, you're a bigot. Sure. The shooter identified as trans. Gender doesn't matter. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Gender is the most important, gender or how you identify is the most important thing on the planet until we mention that, this person was trans. And now, no, bigot, you can't tell us, you can't mention that the person is trans. So anyway, I'm going to move on because I just want to keep the show flowing today. So after all this, and I know this person had some social media posts talking about the Trans Day of Vengeance. Well, apparently the Trans Day of Vengeance is still going to go on. Trans Day of Vengeance protests to take place after Nashville school shooting. Here, I'm going to pause this. Transgender activist group is planning a Trans Day of Vengeance rally outside the U.S. Supreme Court this Saturday, just days after mass shooter Audrey Hale slaughtered 6 people inside a Nashville school. The Washington, D.C. rally, which is being organized by the Trans Radical Activist Network, TRAN, had already been in the works prior to when Hale, who is transgender, attacked the Covenant School on Monday. The name of the protest sparked criticism from some in the wake of the massacre. Well, no, I had some criticism of the name of that protest before there was a massacre. Now it's just people are finding it out, and fascinating, especially when now they had a here it is. Here's the graphic for that particular event, right? We need more than visibility. Trans Day of Vengeance. Stop trans genocide. Well, okay, first of all, you seem to not understand what the word genocide means. Because there's no such thing as, first of all, trans is a mental issue, okay? So I'm not really sure what do you mean by transgender. So they put it there twice. Our Rights DC, Our Rights Proton.me. That's the email, I guess. Anyway, the name of the protest sparked criticism from some in the wake of the massacre. It prompted Twitter to start deleting tweets that featured a poster promoting the event amid fears it was inciting violence. Well, interesting. I'm sure they're going to be mad about that. Hi, Brett Hayes. Organizers, however, have insisted that is not the case, saying in a statement on their website, well, let's find that, this protest is about unity, not inciting violence. Tran does not encourage violence and it is not welcome at the event. Well, what do you mean by vengeance then? Well, let's hang on a second. Do they know what words mean? Let's look up the word vengeance. Vengeance, because it tends to have a violent context, I would think. Here we go. Vengeance. Dictionary. Well, here, definition. Vengeance. Okay, what is vengeance? Okay, definitions.net. So let's go there. Oh, good God. That's terrible. Pain in the ass. There's a lot of movies called Vengeance. Definition. There we go. Vengeance definition. An act of or desire for taking revenge, retributive punishment. Act or desire for taking revenge. Often other suggestions: vengeance, vengefulness. I don't know. It certainly has a connotation of violence, don't you think? So, and again, even here, we do not support a tweet that incites violence, irrespective of who posts them. Vengeance does not imply peaceful protest. Ella Irwin, Twitter's head of trust and safety, tweeted about the crackdown. Wow, Ella Irwin said that. That's amazing, because she is 100% on their side. Organizing or support for peaceful protest is okay. In a statement, Tran rejected any connection between the Vengeance rally and the horrific shooting that claimed the lives of 3 9-year-old students and 3 adults. They say vengeance means fighting back with vehemence. We are fighting against false narratives, criminalization, and eradication of our existence. No one's eradicating your existence. We just want you to let kids wait till they're adults until they make lifelong, life-changing decisions. Okay? Same reason I wouldn't allow my son to get a Buzz Lightyear tattoo when he was 8. Because if he had a Buzz Lightyear tattoo when he was 8, he'd probably be regret it by the time he was 15, and really regret it by the time he was 30, and really just feel dumb about it, okay? Because children cannot make lifelong decisions. They don't understand the concept of lifelong. So anyway, so this is a Washington, D.C. rally is being organized by the Trans Radical Activist Network. It is also called to, okay, this is from the Trans Radical Network. It is also a call to our allies to stand up and fight with us. Oh my gosh, they used the word fight. They used the word fight. That's violence. To bring down the forces listen to this violent language. It is our call on our allies to stand up and fight with us to bring down the forces that try to divide and subjugate us all. That has a very violent connotation to it. Hello, Renee Miette. Among other things, Tran is protesting is the various bans being put in place in some states that prohibit gender reassignment treatments for minors. Criticism of the event intensified after Nashville police, who are still trying to determine the motive, revealed resentment may have driven Hale to open fire on the private Christian school. So, interesting. Now, so here's Tran on their National Trans Day of Vengeance. The time is now. The trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming, intersex communities, they're adding intersex now too, are facing astronomical amounts of hates from the world. Wait, what? How did the intersex community facing hate? Hate? Or just common sense and reason? At least 100 gender-affirming care ban bills have been proposed. For who? For adults or for children? Utah, SB 16 has been passed, and West Virginia's HB 2007 is heading to the Senate. Our community is frightened. Why? It should not affect you adults. And when never mind. Some have been experiencing mental health crisis due to the political climate in our country. On 1/31/2023, Donald Trump announced he will punish healthcare providers and promised that this madness will end. So far in 2023, 12, wait a minute. Okay, here they're going to start giving you statistics without any context. So far in 2023, 12 lives have been lost. 2022, we lost over 60 people. In what manner? What does that mean? Our community has a stigma attached and significantly impacts marginalized communities at a higher intensity. There are members of our own communities that have turned against the true meaning of pride. You mean they don't agree with you on transitioning kids? Is that what you mean? Is that because what does that have to do with the true? Do you know the true meaning of pride? Pride's by the way, isn't pride one of the 7 deadly sins? I think so. That's weird. The trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming, intersex communities have always existed. Have they? We're here, we're queer, and we're not going anywhere. It needs to be echoed loudly. Like the Stonewall riots, the gays and lesbians were experiencing what the trans community is facing now. This cycle of hate needs to end. Look, again, adults can do what you want. People who don't believe in the transitioning of kids don't care what you do when you're an adult. I still don't understand it. I think it's a major mental health issue that's not being treated, but that's a whole nother story. You're an adult. But the idea that you're allowing adults to help make decisions for kids, or letting kids tell adults things, and you're making decisions for kids that permanently harm those kids for the rest of their life. If you want to harm yourself to make yourself feel better, which in most cases it still doesn't, there's some other issue, that's your prerogative as an adult. But the idea that you're going to do these things to kids, you're I'm speaking to the choir, I know. What's fascinating, due to the hate we have received, we disabled our contact form. We will provide an update regarding contact form when it becomes available. At this time, any protests that are occurring, please take precautions and keep each other safe. Well, it's funny they mentioned the Stonewall riot. So, is the Trans Day of Jensen? Here's a question. I have a question. So let's say they have this Trans Day of Vengeance at the Supreme Court. And it turns violent. Will it be called an insurrection? Will they jail anybody for it? I'm just curious. Oh, interesting. Breaking. Jacob Chansley released from prison to a halfway house. Huh. Interesting. All right. So there's also an article in Breitbart about this Trans Day of Vengeance still to proceed despite Nashville shooting. There's a couple different articles on it. Now, let's move on, because here's some in other news related to this somewhat. Now, this is a Kentucky news station, probably out of Lexington, I'm assuming. Double LKY. So, again, media probably... In fact, let's decide the slant. Oh, by the way, let's go to the poll real quick. So the poll, do you think the Nashville event was a hate crime? 74% yes, 26% said no. 31 votes. Here's my answer. No, it wasn't a hate crime. Because hate crimes aren't real. Okay. It was a crime. There's an evil person doing an evil thing, probably for some dumbass reasons, and FTG to the shooter. But a murder is a murder, whether you thought something different or not. And so I just don't believe in hate crimes. Okay, if you do a crime like a murder, I suppose that's it's hateful in and of itself if you're willing to do that. And fuck you, the penalties should be the same. So there you go. All right, that's just my 2 cents. I'm sure some of you realize where I was going with that. But anyway, they will blame right-wing agitators if there is violence. Oh, absolutely they will. Oh, absolutely they will. Anyway, Kentucky GOP dominated legislator overrides the veto. Trans youth bill becomes law. I agree with these laws. I'm not going to cheer, but I agree with these laws. Senate Bill 150 in its final form bans gender-affirming care, gender-denying harm to minors, blocks teachers from using a student's preferred pronouns, unless the parents say it's okay, I'm going to guess. I'm sure look, I don't think they care if a parent says, hey, this is how we're doing it, then defer to the parents. I think the parents are stupid for doing that at a young age, but that's their prerogative. But the idea that the teacher can do that just because the child says so, kiss my whole ass. Requires school districts to form bathroom policies based on biological sex and limits discussion about LGBTQ issues in sex education classes. On Wednesday, the second to last, interesting on that. Wednesday, the second to last day of the General Assembly, hundreds of people gathered to rally both sides of the issue. Protesters against the legislation filled the lawn in the front of the Capitol. A smaller rally formed with those for the bill inside the rotunda, and after the GOP-dominated Senate passed the measure 29-8 at first, and then went straight to the also majority Republican House, where protesters disrupted chambers by breaking into chants. Oh, was it an insurrection? So here's a video of them protesting at the House.
They should be with us today.
All right, so they protested there. Among the chants was Henry Zachet. They should be with us. Both are trans people who have died in recent months. Again, so they brought up the 60 people that died last year, trans people that died in the United States of America, who may have been murdered, may have been whatever. What's interesting, then they give those stats because they keep saying, oh, the trans, murders have been up X number of percent. Do you know most of those are either domestic crimes, like domestic violence issues, or are completely unrelated to whether or not they were trans? Because if it was a hate crime, we certainly would hear about it, right? But and also think about that. So 60 trans people in years where the murder rate in the United States has gone up, especially in major cities, when there's 15,000 some people killed via homicide in the United States, and 60 happen to be trans. 60 out of roughly, 15,000 a year? I'm pretty sure that just the numerical odds would tell you that would probably be the case. But anyway, thank you, Tyler Alexander, for sponsoring the show with the big bullet in the tip jar. And now, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, Tyler Alexander, who says, cry transphobia and let slip the pronouns of war. Rally the armies of Z-Zim-Zers for march to the Capitol. These cunts need to live and let live so I can go back to my mellow self. Yes, I feel ya. Thank you very much for sponsoring the show. All right. So anyway, that's in Kentucky. Where am I at here? In Utah. Is this Utah? No, in Alabama. A federal judge rules in favor of Alabama in its continued fight to ban transgender medicine and surgery on minors. The state of Alabama has won a small victory and continues to fight challenges to its 2022 ban on transgender surgeries and hormones for people under 19. In April 2022, Governor Kay Ivey signed VCAP SB 184 into law, which prohibits doctors in Alabama from performing transgender operations or prescribing cross-sex hormones and puberty blockers to individuals under 19. VCAP went into effect on May 8th, 2022, but was blocked by U.S. District Judge Lyles Burke. A few days later, the injunction by Burke came after multiple parties added themselves as plaintiffs in the case, including 5 transgender minor by way of their parents, the United States of America, and Caitlin Toyoma, an attorney advisor with the Civil Rights Division of the DOJ. So, what? So, the DOJ gets involved in a state law matter. Interesting. The 3-judge panel of the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals heard oral arguments on November 2022. Despite the current deliberation by the 11th Circuit, Burke is still responsible for deliberating motions on the case. On Monday, Burke ruled in favor of the state on a motion made in March related to the World Professional Association of Transgender Health. In their arguments, plaintiffs have repeatedly cited information from the American Academy of Pediatrics, WPATH, and the Endocrine Society to validate their claims. All transgender activist organizations these days, the American Academy of Pediatrics, defers 100% to WPATH and the Endocrine Society, which are both, they say they're professional organizations. They're activists. All listed organizations offer full support for, quote, gender-affirming care, end quote, and encourage a social transitioning at any age and medical transitioning in early to late teens. I thought they weren't doing medical transitioning on minors. Wow. When the state requested discovery on internal documents from those groups, the organization filed a motion to squash. Now, why would they do that? After resolving their disputes with other organizations, the state then turned its full attention to WPATH, which is the World Professional Association of Transgender Health. The guidelines it offers for treating gender dysphoria were repeatedly called the gold standard in court proceedings. The state subpoena's request included the following. The process WPATH used to create, review, and adopt their position statements, treatment guidelines, and standards of care regarding transitioning treatments. What's interesting is when you listen to some of the information from them, they don't even agree with the way some of these states are doing this. But anyway, WPATH's reaction to members' concerns about pediatric transitioning care in America, WPATH's involvement, if any, in the creation of standards of care and diagnostic standards for other organizations related to pediatric transitioning, WPATH's review of the literature related to transitioning treatment for minors, WPATH's knowledge of pediatric transitioning treatments in Alabama. Now, in WPATH's motion to quash, they claim the state's request infringed on its First Amendment rights and imposed undue burden and were not relative to the plaintiff's case. That's fascinating because they're the ones saying that these, also consider any of the UK's NICE literature reviews, the Swedish, the French statements. Okay, so they also requested if they've considered what's happening in Sweden, France, Finland, etc., and other countries where they're not doing this anymore, where they've ended doing this. So anyway, it's fascinating that so they don't want discovery of how they came to their conclusions. They just want to be able to say, well, we're the experts. What we say is correct. Interesting. Anyway, in Burke's filing Monday, he said that the state's requests were unquestionably relevant and that the state requests impose no burden on WPATH, and WPATH's First Amendment rights are not infringed by the requested documents. Yeah, you're in a court case. What are you talking about? They're not impeding your First Amendment freedom of speech. They're just asking how you came to these conclusions. Is this a scientific conclusion or an activist conclusion? That's what they want to know, and they want to see how you came up with it. And that's part of the discovery procedure when you file a court case against the state of Alabama. Unbelievable. Proscription of the discovery defendants seek would in essence amount to acceptance of WPATH standards as established evidence-based clinical guidelines on WPATH's word alone and without further inquiry, Burke wrote. The plaintiffs in the case have introduced WPATH guidelines as the gold standard authority for treating gender dysphoria. The state is attempting to prove that the guidelines are not backed by medical evidence. Instead, the state argues the guidelines are ideologically driven. And in fact, people at WPATH, like Dr. Marcy Bowers, who's Jazz Jennings' doctor, and the one from Matt Walsh's movie, Dr. Marcy Bowers, she admits on herself that there are no real studies that confirm what they do because they don't have enough data. They don't have enough data to actually do a study. There's 7 studies that they always they always refer to, but none of the studies have enough data that make them valid studies. It's just incredible. Anyway, also, controversial group behind Trans Day of Vengeance raised money for firearms training, and other trans protesters posed with guns ahead of the march in D.C. on Saturday. So this is from the Daily Mail. We've seen this guy. I said this guy. Oh boy, I'm gonna get in trouble. Trans activist Kayla Denker shows off the firearm. Anyway, despite 3 9-year-olds being gunned down by a transgender shooter in a private Christian school in Nashville, activists are still rallying troops to protest for a Trans Day of Vengeance month after raising money for firearms training. Then they go through the case again. But despite rising political tension across the country, which saw press secretary for Arizona Democrat Governor post a tweet about shooting transphobe, the Trans Radical Activist Network is pushing forward the protest in D.C. All right, you can read the rest of this on your own. You get the point. But now they have pictures. They're posting pictures of themselves with guns. Now this person, their name was Audrey Hale. Now this person's misgendering Audrey Hale too. Not only is this person misgendering Audrey Hale, this person is dead naming Audrey Hale, who wanted to go by Aiden. Their name, no. Apparently, Audrey Hale went by he, him pronouns, Audrey Hale would like you to refer to her as he, him. That makes sense. Their name was Audrey Hale. They're a martyr against transphobia from hateful Christian bigots like, you genociding us, we will defend ourselves from you. Where's your God now? Pray for mercy because we won't show any. Wow. That's serious. Let's see. Dance party fundraiser benefiting firearm self-defense training for trans Virginians. Come boogie with us and defend trans life. So, Trans Day of Vengeance, man. Show up with show your firearms. Anyway, and then of course this one, trans rights or else. Oh, trans rights or else we will kill you. Is that what you're saying? Interesting. This is on Etsy. You can buy this shirt on Etsy. Fascinating. There we go. Defend equality, bullets and whatnot. All right. And I'm all for, if people want to own guns, they can own guns. But if you're threatening people, good God, what are you doing? You're threatening people with death. There we go. Alejandra Caraballo. Thank God Tennessee protected the children from the so-called horrors of drag and gender-affirming care so they can be shot up by a school by an AR-15 instead. I need to... Isn't it ironic? Isn't it ironic? Oh, and then imagine blaming the entire community for the actions of a single individual and then having this take. Interesting change of speed there. Anyway, so there you go. That's in the Daily Mail. I gotta hurry up here. Now, let's go into some more other related news. Woman files lawsuit against the University of Wyoming sorority after admission of a trans-identified male who watches them undress. Kappa Kappa Gamma at the University of Wyoming. Apparently, it was accepted to a trans person, human being who identifies something other than they are, was accepted to Kappa Kappa Gamma. Now, it's always weird because this is not a anyway, at least, well, the Kappas at the university I went to were all very attractive women. 7 women are suing the Kappa Kappa Gamma sorority after it was told to admit a male who identifies as transgender to the University of Wyoming chapter. Artemis Langford, 21, was accepted into Kappa Kappa Gamma following a vote that was held after he submitted an admission form last September. I'm sure this was just a virtue signaling move by the leadership of Kappa Kappa Gamma chapter Wyoming. I feel glad to be in a place that I think not only shares my values, but to be in a sisterhood of awesome women that want to make history, Langford told the Branding Iron, a local publication where he is also employed as a contributor during an interview last year. They want to break the glass ceiling, trailblazing, and I certainly feel that as their first trans member, at least in the chapter in Wyoming history. As a member of Kappa Kappa Gamma, Langford, who is 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighs approximately 260 pounds. Bullshit. That is, if that person is 6'2", that person's 3 bills easy. Anyway, 6'2" and weighing approximately 3 bills is allowed to live in the Kappa Kappa Gamma house, which accommodates up to 50 women, though he currently lives outside of the sorority house. He is set to move into the residence within a year where he would have access to the shared shower facilities. Doors to the communal showers do not lock, and the main bathroom located on the second floor is not equipped with a private changing area, according to Cowboy State Daily, though Langford resides elsewhere for the time being. The women allege that he frequently sits in the second floor common area watching the women. An adult human male does not become a woman just because he tells others that he has female gender identity and behaves in what he believes to be a stereotypical female manner, reads the legal complaint filed on Monday with the U.S. District Court for Wyoming. The Fraternity Council has betrayed the central purpose and mission of Kappa Kappa Gamma by conflating the experience of being a woman with the experience of men engaging in behavior generally associated with women. The 7 anonymous women, all of whom are either current or previous members of the UW sorority chapter, filed a lawsuit on March 27th against the sorority and its council president, Mary Pat Rooney. Langdon is referred to by the pseudonym Terry Smith in legal documents, which uses male pronouns to address him. The plaintiffs are requesting that the court void Langford's membership in Kappa Kappa Gamma. Now, there's this is interesting because I don't know if that's possible. And now they can sue the sorority for the sorority to let him in, and now they're suing to have him removed. Okay, let's see. Court records revealed that the young women are alleging Langford had been voyeuristically peeping on them when they were in intimate situations and, in at least one occasion, had a visible erection while doing so. One sorority member walked down the hall to take a shower. Wearing only a towel, she felt an unsettling presence, turned and saw Mr. Smith watching her silently, court documents read. Mr. Smith has, while watching members enter the sorority house, had an erection visible through his leggings. The suit says other times he has had a pillow on his lap. The complaint adds Langford is sexually interested in women, as evidenced by his Tinder profile through which he seeks to meet women. It is further alleged that Langford took photographs of the women while at a sorority slumber party, where he also is said to have made inappropriate comments. The problem here is, hello, Rusty Shack, what's up? One of the problems here is the sorority let him in, so they need to see, here's their problem. They have to do this anonymously because they will be labeled as transphobic, and all the college students will come protest those 7 women and just harass the hell out of them. On the other hand, too, probably the only way to remove this person from the sorority is to have them removed via vote within the sorority. I don't know if I have no idea how a court is going to order this. It's very interesting. So anyway, you can read the rest. There's a whole lot more, but dude's kind of creepy, and he's in a sorority now. Good for him. Also, you know how the drag shows for kids are supposed to be family friendly or whatnot? Well, there's a big hubbub in North Carolina because a drag queen straddled a girl during a racy performance at a North Carolina community college, prompting the schools potentially revise its rules surrounding underage shows, according to officials. A viral video shows the drag queen busting a lap dance-like move on the apparent teenager at Forsyth Technical Community College Pride Fest, which students as young as 14 were invited to attend, according to Fox News. The busty dancer, fake busty or just what? It had to be fake. The busty dancer then briefly wraps her. What do you mean? It's a drag queen. It's a he. Drags his legs around the student as the girl sits in a chair at an on-campus restaurant where the drag show is held, according to footage posted by the conservative social media account Libs of TikTok. After doing a stripper-style dance, again, are we condoning stripper shows for minors now? Stripper-style dance, the drag queen then gives the student a hug as onlookers cheer, according to the footage, which sparked outrage among some right-wing circles online. Parents of children under 18 were not notified of this event in advance. Paula Dibley, the school's chief officer of student success, told Fox the student's name and age were not immediately clear. Dibley said the school in Winston-Salem is now considering revising its campus policies regarding events that are open to underage students. Yeah, probably a good idea. How about you think about that? I'm sure that this is, even if it was my 14-year-old daughter or 15-year-old daughter, I mean, like, why? Why are we, why? Okay. Are you going to have stripper night? Family-friendly stripper night. That's where the problem is. Are we going to have... Anyway, moving on. Speaking of that incident with Rand Paul's staffer, man released from federal prison stabs Rand Paul staffer on second day out. The former inmate arrested on charge of assault with intent to kill after the Saturday attack. The U.S. Senate staffer remained hospitalized Tuesday after police say he was attacked, leaving a restaurant in Washington this weekend by a man who had been released from federal prison a day earlier. The suspect, Glenn Neal, 42, was arrested on a charge of assault with intent to kill after Saturday's attack. The Federal Bureau of Prisons told the Associated Press Neal had been released from a federal prison in Maryland on Friday. Investigators believe the attack was random. The victim, Philip Todd, who works for Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, told investigators he had never seen his attacker before and that Neal didn't say or demand anything before he stabbed him. He said Neal appeared from around a corner and attacked him as he was walking with a friend. Neal had been released after earning so-called good time credit as part of a bipartisan criminal justice overhaul known as the First Step Act that was signed by former President Donald Trump. You think the DeSantis cab's going to bring that one up? Hoo boy. Police found Neal after the officer saw a cell phone that was dropped at the scene. Court documents obtained by the AP said Neal told officers he heard a voice telling him that someone was going to get him shortly before the attack. So good luck to that person, the staffer. And hope he heals well. The Trump grand jury. Remember, the walls are closed again. Well, the Manhattan Trump grand jury is going to take a month-long break now. The Manhattan grand jury examining Donald Trump's alleged role in the hush money. Okay, you can tell where they're. Well, everyone's saying it this way, so what the hell? The Manhattan grand jury examining Donald Trump's alleged role in a hush money payment to a porn star isn't expected to hear evidence in the case for the next month, largely due to a previously scheduled hiatus, according to a person familiar with the proceedings. The break would push any indictment of the former president to late April at earliest, although it is possible that the grand jury's schedule could change. In recent week, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office hasn't convened the panel on certain days, but it is District Attorney Alvin Bragg's prerogative to ask the grand jury to reconvene if prosecutors want the panel to meet during previously planned breaks. So... and heads are exploding all over Never Trump land. Anyway, and I'm going to have to finish up here. Apparently that Reedy Creek board that, remember, Ron DeSantis basically took away the little autonomous zone that the state of Florida had been given to Disney, and they actually put together this board to actually run the physical land that was basically Disney's own personal country, paradise, whatever you want to call it. Well, now the hand-picked board from Governor DeSantis overseeing Disney's World Government Services is gearing up for a potential legal battle over a 30-year development agreement they say effectively renders them powerless to manage the entertainment giant's future growth in Central Florida. Ahead of the expected state takeover, the Walt Disney Company quietly pushed through the pact and restrictive covenants that would tie the hands of future board members for decades, according to a legal presentation by the district's lawyers on Wednesday. The Central Florida Tourism's Oversight District new Board of Supervisors voted to bring in outside legal firepower to examine the agreement, including a conservative Washington, D.C. law firm that has defended several of DeSantis' culture war priorities. We're going to have to deal with it and correct it, board member Brian Onks Jr. said. It's a subversion of the will of the voters and the legislature and the governor. It completely circumvents the authority of this board to govern. Apparently, Disney is defending the actions. All agreements signed between Disney and the district were appropriate and were discussed and approved in open noticed public forums in compliance with Florida's government in the Sunshine Law, an unsigned company statement read. So they're battling over this, who's going to govern the land area mass that Disney has controlled for many, many years. TLDR. Moving on. There's an article about how tolerance and acceptance will never be enough for the trans crowd. That is true. That is true. You can read the article. It's interesting. But I want to get to my last few things, but we'll show you what else is in the tabs today. Arizona Katie Hobbs press secretary resigns after threatening violence against transphobe after the Nashville shooting. So, update. Her press secretary, Joss Berry, has made her account private after encouraging more gun violence after the Christian school shooting in the other day. Do they have a screenshot of it? Oh, right after they posted this, she resigned. The governor does not condone violence in any form. This administration holds mutual respect at the forefront of how we engage with one another. The post by the press secretary is not reflective of the values of the administration. The governor has received and accepted the resignation of the press secretary. So this is what she tweeted. Us when we see transphobes. Right after this shooting, us when we see transphobes. So, she is gone. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, Keith Olbermann. Okay, wait a minute. Child, we don't even know the motive. We don't know why Audrey Hill, a former student, killed 6 people. We don't know anything, but since Audrey identified as transgender and it's a Christian school, it must be because of transphobe. Berry locked her account. Fox News reported that the tweet was gone for violating the site's rules. I can hear crickets from most leftists, except for Keith Olbermann. Keith Olbermann said, this from Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs spokesperson Jocelyn Berry, hours after the Nashville school shooting, is abhorrent and indefensible, and to go 36 hours without comment, barring the most improbable of explanations, she must apologize and resign. Oh, my God. Keith Olbermann went broken clock. Holy shit. Give it up for Keith Olbermann. Give it up for Keith. He did the right thing. Also, in legal insurrection, so remember when they had the protest outside the Supreme Court justices' homes? Well, apparently there's a Department of Justice memo that told U.S. Marshals not to arrest protesters outside the Supreme Court justices' homes, despite federal law that is one of the rare what they call First Amendment exceptions. The training materials told marshals to avoid, unless absolutely necessary, any criminal enforcement action involving the protesters. Senator Katie Britt of Alabama revealed during a March 28th hearing that the Department of Justice memo told U.S. Marshals not to arrest protesters outside Supreme Court justices' homes after someone leaked Justice Alito's opinion overturning Roe v. Wade and Maine. Now, here's the law. 18 U.S. Code 1507 states, whoever, with the intent of interfering with, obstructing, or impeding the administration of justice, or with the intent of influencing any judge, juror, witness, or court officer in the discharge of his duties, pickets or parades in or near a building housing a court of the United States, or in or near a building or residence occupied or used by such judge, juror, witness, or court officer, or with such intent uses any sound truck or similar device or resorts to any other demonstration in or near any such building or residence shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both. So, because they don't want people to use violence and intimidation to influence judges and or juries. So they make it a criminal. It's criminal to do that. That's it's not free speech to try to intimidate people and who are trying to adjudicate the law, apparently. So now, however, Britt showed that the memo used this section to not make arrests on the basis of the section. The DOJ told the U.S. Marshals to arrest people as a last resort. Newly uncovered materials used in them to train marshals to protect the homes of Supreme Court justices show that they were actively discouraged from making arrests on grounds of this statute. Britt said those materials show that the marshals likely didn't make any arrests because they were actively discouraged from doing so. The training material told the marshals to avoid, unless absolutely necessary, any criminal enforcement action involving the protesters. So the DOJ is not your friend. Apparently they finally found somebody. They arrested somebody. The first arrest for attacking a pro-life center. And the reason they found it is because they found DNA off of half-eaten burrito. I kid you not. Yeah, you'll have to check that one out yourself. And also, since there's a huge push to ban assault weapons, apparently there was a hearing in the Senate where Alejandro Mayorkas struggled to define what an assault weapon is. They don't have the video here, so I'm not going to click it. Here, let's see if this is it. Is this the video? If you want to see the video. Oh, it's in the Appropriation Committee hearing. They have the entire video. We're not doing that. I might pull that out later. Biden, who also is demanding that we ban assault weapons because the last assault weapon ban was the most successful weapons ban in the history of history, claims he's a Second Amendment guy.
You know, we have to do more to stop this gun violence, ripping communities apart, ripping apart the soul of this nation. To protect our children so they learn how to read and write instead of duck and cover in a classroom.
Oh, but you're not teaching them to read and write. You're too busy teaching them about pronouns.
You know, we need to act. These are weapons of war. I'm a Second Amendment guy. I have 2 shotguns. My sons have shotguns.
Hey, one of your sons had an illegal gun that he disposed of in a garbage can.
You know, but our states, you know, everybody thinks somehow the Second Amendment is absolute. You're not allowed to.
Are we going through this shit again? Is he gonna go through this shit again?
Go out and own an automatic weapon. You're not allowed to own a machine gun. You're not allowed to own a
Yes, you are. You have to have a special permit for machine guns for whatever reason. I don't know. Automatic weapons are really, really hard to shoot in any effective way. Just because in the movies they show people, they're spraying and this and that, and they're killing everybody. Nah, they're not very accurate. That's why the military doesn't use fully automatic weapons. They use burst fire weapons that'll shoot 3 at a time, because shooting more than 3 at a time is very inaccurate. It's basically just spraying nowhere. So anyway, Biden's a First Amendment guy. Also, there was a confrontation between Representative Jamal Bowman and Thomas Massey. You can watch that. There's video. It's all over the internet right now. I want to finish with, though, a couple things. One, in my state, for the second year in a row, in Minnesota's largest counties lost population as more people left than moved in. So Hennepin County and Ramsey County in Minnesota are basically Minneapolis and St. Paul. People are getting their asses out of the cities because crime in both of the cities has been pretty scary. And anyway, if you're interested, you can read that. But my final thought, the dude, Douglas Mackey, the guy who they called, what the hell is his name? He's the guy who's being they're trying to charge him with the crime for memes. Okay, in February 20, Ricky Vaughn, he had the handle Ricky Vaughn. February 10th, 2021, the U.S. government indicted me on a single felony count for violating 18 U.S. 241, which forbids conspiracies to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate in the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured by the Constitution. The government alleges he did so by engaging in a conspiracy meme. A meme. He had a meme in 2016. This entirely novel prosecution constitutes a dangerous prosecutorial overreach and egregious attack on due process in the First Amendment. So anyway, he's posted a Give, Send, Go for his legal fund if you're interested. Now, this is what I'll finish with because it's kind of funny. Then we'll finish there. I also put a link to my Marty's Big Journey channel. But here's the end. Apparently, this teen was going to carjack a car, and he had a little problem. Doesn't know how to drive a manual transmission. Here's the scene. Montgomery County Department of Police authorities in Germantown, Maryland, arrested 2 teenagers for a strong-arm carjacking on Saturday. Police said the teens approached a man as he was finishing pumping his gas. I don't know why that's not fit the screen there. The juveniles forced the door open, demanded the keys, and entered the victim's car. But however, the teens weren't able to drive away because they could not drive a manual transmission. How can you not know how to drive a stick? You know, most kids don't these days. Minutes later, they were taken into custody after trying to run away. So they carjacked this guy, but they couldn't drive a manual transmission. So if you're raising kids, the teenagers being charged as adult and they're facing 1 count of carjacking and 1 count of conspiracy carjacking. I guess because there's 2 of them. So, and that is the feel-good story of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to call it. Thanks for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. I'm here Monday through Friday for the most part. 10 o'clock Eastern, roughly, 9 o'clock Central. And if you haven't done so, hit the like button. We broke 36 today. Hit the like button, share the stream, do all that stuff, and sponsor the show. P-Dog Night Live, just like Black Hebrew Israelite Ty Alexander did today. Thank you guys for sponsoring the show. I'll be back tomorrow on Friday for the normal Friday show. Thanks. Gotta go. My name's P-Dog Night, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P-Dog Night, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Night, and I'm out of here.